Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Mental Omega streams. I am here, Zenothist, with my ever-loyal companion, Doomhammer.
Good evening, everyone.
And tonight we're going to be starting with the first Subfaction Spotlight, and tonight that'll be the Pacific Front. Isn't that right, Doom?
Yep.
So right now what we're going to be starting out with is we're going to be talking a little bit about the Pacific Front. Who are they? What do they do? What kind of tactics are you best at using with them? And of course all the neat and cute toys that they have, and we're going to be playing around a little bit with them.
Yes.
Alright, so let's start off. Who is toys that they have? And we're going to be playing around a little bit. The Pacific Front is basically a conglomeration of several countries in the east. So say Japan, Indonesia, Australia, who have all come together to band against the Soviets, who are also trying to attack the United States from the eastern side, or from the Pacific side. What kind of tech are we looking at? We're looking at compared to the other allied subfactions, the Pacific Front are generally more heavier units. They're heavier, they're more powerful, generally a little bit more slower, and a little bit more expensive often. So generally they're the bruiser side of the allied faction, which is pretty neat. So they've got some real muscle under there. Along with that, they also have lots of cryogenic or ice-based weaponry, which is pretty neat. Has got some pretty good effects on other units. It's good for support as well. But let's start out with their basic unit, which is the Kappa Tank.
Which are right over here.
Exactly.
The
Kappa Tank.
Main feature about the Kappa Tank is, as you may see, it looks like it's off the ground, and that is correct. It's actually a hover tank, capable of crossing bodies of water.
Yes, that's correct. The Kappa Tank is the slowest of all basic allied tanks. It's also the most expensive and the one with the most overall health. And it also has the added bonus of being amphibious. Which, as you can imagine, being from places such as Japan, or where most of the countries are either islands or archipelagos, that amphibiousness is of course a very good tactic. Or at least it's a great feature to have on a tank.
I will play some shogi with you. Unit ready.
Of course, being basic tanks, they aren't. They're great against general armor. They're less effective against infantry. Now, a good strategy to start off with, if you have any starting units for the Pacific Front, is of course to make use of using positioning that your enemy will least expect them from. Nobody expects a Kappa Tank rush from, say, from water or from surrounding islands. So that's something you can really give your opponent a nasty surprise with. Anyway, next up is the Tsurugi, which is the IFV equivalent for the Pacific Front. Let's roll them out.
I've got them right over here.
Okay,
group selected. The IFV is a power suit, a mech walker.
Yeah.
It is the... Well, I think you are more familiar with the stats.
That's true. The Tsurugi, which, unlike as I just said a few seconds ago, the Tsurugi is actually the cheapest of the IFV units. But that comes back from the idea when the Tsurugi needed an infantry unit to pilot it, because of course it was a mech suit, and we had the idea that we wanted it could only be activated once you had an infantry unit get inside of it, but due to technical limitations, we unfortunately had to scrap that. But now they're currently the slowest of the IFV counterparts, but are also the ones with most health, of course. And with an added bonus, since that they're a robotic unit, they also are completely immune to radiation and poison. But unfortunately, mind control won't save you there.
No. Of course, being a counterpart of the IFV, you can put in any kind of infantry, and they will have their given turrets.
Alright, well, show off them Tsurugis. I mean, you can show off a couple, I guess, with some infantry already put in them and their specialized weaponry.
I will play some shogi with you.
There are a couple of Tsurugis heading your way. And I'm gonna quickly show you each individual Tsurugi, see what they do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what have you got inside here?
The first one is going to be just a GI, which I'm going to retreat.
Yeah, that's pretty potent.
There you see the a combination of the siege cadre And the oh, that was this one.
Yeah, the Chrono Legionnaire, I see. Wow. Yeah, so it's all general. Ouch. Of course, being that they're IFV units, they're not incredibly heavily armored, but they're definitely they're generally more fast attack units, so to speak.
Yeah. And this one here houses the engineer for any repair.
Of course, because as it's an IFV counterpart, you can also use engineers just to repair with whatever you like.
Cover me.
Okay, moving on. Oh yeah, better get rid of that one first.
Oopsie. Oh well.
Engineering. I
No
won't
big
be
loss.
late.
Next up is the Zephyr.
Yes, the Zephyr artillery.
Well, actually, I'm gonna select them.
Now,
as...
can you tell me a little bit what is? Can you tell me a little about what the Zephyr is?
Well, it's basically an
got the
anti-tank
knowledge.
artillery unit.
Okay, so like it destroys tanks from a slightly larger range.
Yeah, let me show you the range of a single one. As you can see, I'm currently within the minimum range, but out here is the minimum range that you can fire, and it goes all the way up to here. So Zenothist,
target vector.
there you go. As you can see, a large splash damage of area splash damage.
Bringing gun to bear.
There we go. I'm quickly gonna build a bit more, because I only have 5. Of course, the one
Yeah,
that side.
better be careful. Of course, they do have a minimum range. As you see, it's a decent amount of range, and it definitely takes a fair chunk off it. But you can also see that they're ever so slightly inaccurate.
Yeah. If, for instance, Zenothist would place his tanks over here, where I just placed the beacon, the accuracy is going to be so bad that you can't even hit the tanks. So,
Or at least it definitely scales out with range. Because as long as I keep moving, I can generally keep my tanks unharmed. But of course, as it's an artillery unit, getting a little bit too close to them, they have a minimum range. So then I can just get that in.
And here goes the last one.
Out of the blue. Seek the high ground.
Okay, great.
Okay,
so Zephyrs are basically they're a great defensive unit, or for just generally harassing your enemy's tanks, or especially miners. But you should definitely not keep them all too undefended, since any faster moving anti-armor units will definitely be able to catch them off guard.
Okay.
Up next, what do we have next, Doom? I think it's one of the most iconic units ever for the Pacific Front, and in general from the old Metalliga 2.0, where we still had them for Greece. For Greece, I believe, which is the Blizzard Tank.
The ice tank.
If you're willing to move in a couple of Rocketeers as well, because I
A couple of Rocketeers as well.
Yeah, because I want to show you a little. I want to show the viewers one of the possible uses for the Blizzard tanks.
Okay, sure. Here we go.
Thermal inversion cannon ready.
I see them coming. So I see that you're moving already in with a bunch.
I'm gonna make you eat your words, buddy.
Hey, look at that!
You need a blizzard.
Select target.
Impressive. So at the moment they do have anti-air. So they're at the moment they're technically an anti-air T3, but they also function as you can see, as anti-air. Or as anti-infantry, and they also provide a debuff. Which if you could stop shooting at me for a second.
I can't. Sorry, I can't. Just die.
They're generally good at they're generally more as a support tank, and something that I'll just move in with a stronger tank in here. Hold on a second.
Oh dear.
Let's see what I got here.
Oh dear, I'm scared.
But as you can say, of course, they do have they use currently they use a kind of cryo weaponry, which at the moment, thanks to attach effect and Ares 0.4, allows us to apply buffs and debuffs to units. And the most prevalent one, of course, for the Blizzard tank is that it slows tanks and infantry.
Run away.
You can see that small.
Run away. As you can see, it's a lot slower than the normal speed of the tank.
Yeah, you can also see that on the right side of the unit health bar, there's also, if you noticed closely, you can see a very small arrow which shows a debuff.
Yeah.
And we currently have a color code for that kind of thing. We have red, green, and blue, I believe.
Yeah, the red is for firepower, my guess.
Yeah.
Green is for health.
Yeah.
Or armor,
and
actually,
blue's-
and blue is for speed.
Blue's for movement speed. That's right.
Support unit on standby.
Also,
Shattering blades.
I'm gonna move in quickly to
Ice
your
cold.
barracks over here, just to show you what kind of damage each individual unit does to a building.
Support unit on
Okay.
standby.
I think that's also important to know that, despite the fact that these units are supposed to be anti-infantry, anti-air, and some support,
To the bow.
they can
Yeah,
fight.
they're gonna be nerfed in a soon while because of course their main intention of course is not to be used as siege units.
No.
But we're gonna be nerfing that as well. So that's something.
Winter is coming. East
All
units
balance
on
issues, of
standby.
course, are still being worked on.
Yeah.
So that's something just to keep in mind. That a lot of things are still subject to change, but we've got a lot of things already hand down, of course, with the oncoming public release coming up soon.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'm moving my Zephyrs also
AC
towards your
says to
little
max
base to show
Okay.
how they are effective against buildings, or how not they are effective against buildings.
Okay, sure, no problem.
More or less.
Do you mind if I already talk about the next unit, or do you want to show this off first?
Now let's show this off first, and then we'll talk about other
Okay,
stuff.
sure.
Check out the view.
Well, if you're right at it, then you can
Got a steady glow.
start bringing in the hailstorms a little bit closer in as well.
Okay. Let me find them. Ah.
We
put them
hail
right here.
from the clouds above. When do we get to pound them?
When do we get to pound them? And those are my Rocketeers, don't worry. So, the Zephyrs are moving in.
Okay, so it's not really that extremely effective.
No, the
But I
area
have to bring
of...
in a lot of them to bring in down a simple barracks.
Yeah. The greater effect is the area of effect that the blast...
Yeah, of course.
But
Seek the high ground.
that's
Okay,
about
I
it.
see.
That's about it.
Okay, sure. So moving on to the next unit, the Hailstorm, which
We
is the
hail from the
Pacific
clouds
Front
above.
main
Approaching.
artillery unit.
They're
And a
moving
majestic
in.
one of that as well. It's basically a rolling aircraft carrier
On the rocks.
On the rocks.
on the rocks,
Yes.
shaken not stirred. Okay, so why don't you show off this awesome
Turn
power?
them into slush.
Turn them into slush, we will.
Some say the world will
Talk
end
like
in
Yoda,
ice.
copyrighted it
Turn them
is.
into slush. We hail from the clouds above. This one's on us.
Well, as you can see, it pretty much works on the same basics as an aircraft carrier. It launches a single bomber, which will then proceed to carpet bomb the area with cryo bomb.
Yes. And this cryo bombs do have a splash attack, which causes enemy infantry to get hurt. Also enemy tanks to get hurt, but infantry will more likely be sustainable and will sooner die from it.
Yeah, of course, the cryo clouds will make sure of that.
Some
Ice
say
clouds.
the world will end in ice.
Okay, so pretty neat. Very devastating.
Yes.
Okay.
Howdy.
Next unit, of course, is the
Approaching.
one, the only Black Eagle. Which at the moment I believe is one of the best aircraft in the game, I think.
Yes, they are.
airspeed.
That is not, if I am not incorrect.
Calibrating
Well, then let me get a little something out here. And how about you use those majestic things?
Gunner in position. Command received.
Oh, better be careful. So as you can see, the Black Eagle, of course, not being invulnerable, is of course definitely what is one of the strongest jets in the entire game. It probably is the strongest jet in the entire game, I think. They're
Armor-wise, they are indeed compared to the.
well, at the health-wise, definitely. They have the most health of all jets. They're also the second fastest, I believe. Only I believe only the Stormchild is the fastest.
Yeah.
So overall, great units. And their weapons are, of course, are unique in that they are also splash damage cryo weapons, which is which allows them to really wreak havoc on enemies. So it's a fantastic unit in
Turn them
general.
into slush.
So next up, of course, with the Black Eagle, how on earth are we going to top the most iconic the most iconic Korean unit from Red Alert 2? I think, of course, would be our hero units.
Solid as a rock.
Norio.
Norio.
Swift as a breeze.
So, how about you bringing that bad boy over here?
Gale. Here I come.
Show him off.
Here I come.
Well, he says it himself. Here I come.
Here I come.
All right.
Victory lies over there. Here I come.
Keep that
I think
copter in the air.
I'll just sneak past here.
No, you don't.
As you
Better run,
wish.
better run.
The sky is
Careful
but
for
the
my
beginning.
blizzards.
Right
Ooh, that sounds
away.
nasty.
Those were my blizzards. So,
Anyway,
Norio.
excellent. So Norio, who is Norio actually? Norio is a man who's basically flying around in an armored suit. One of the very few that are currently exist in the Mental Omega universe. What does he currently use? He's got this kind of cryo blaster, which he uses for infantry, which is rather effective, I'd say. Definitely slows infantry down to a crawl, so that's pretty neat. And of course, for the rest, he has a barrage of missiles,
Unit
which
ready.
is easy to take down a lot of units very easily. Even these heavy battle fortresses here. Get over here.
Unit ready.
Also, in
As you can see, for an air unit, Norio is definitely one of the tougher air units out there, of course, being a hero. He's also the fastest hero in the game, especially when he reaches top speed. He's probably capable of outflying almost anything.
The sky is but the beginning.
A little fun fact though, although, is that Norio is the only hero unit who doesn't have stealth detection. He's the only hero who cannot detect stealth. Then why would you need that? You can freaking fly.
Swift as a breeze.
Okay, and I guess
Fierce
that
as a
leaves
gale.
us with the last unit for the Pacific Front, namely the Battle Fortress.
Yes, the battle fortress. Let's get on with that. You've seen it already, so how about you show it up here?
Well, the Battle Fortress compared to the vanilla Yuri's Revenge has been altered in a slight bit. There are two major changes. First of all, as you can see, I've stationed 4 infantry units next to them, which I'll put in then.
Solid as a rock, sir.
Yeah, you can only fit in 4 infantry units at the
Yeah.
moment.
But the 5th slot has been replaced by a missile launcher on the top, which Zenothist used against my Norio earlier today.
Exactly. The missile launcher is indeed used for air units, armored units, and and in general against buildings. And of course, with the heavy machine gun, this makes the battle fortress definitely a great deal more versatile. Especially being able to combine it with different kinds of infantry to your taste. I mean, that it makes it a very flexible tier 3 tank.
Affirmative, sir.
Along with the fact that it is also one of the slowest and has the most health of any other tier 3 allied tank. It's definitely one of the hardiest ones. So you really need a lot of firepower to be able to take this one down, or even to take out a battalion of them. Don't even get me started on that.
Well, in 2 of these I put in 2 Guardian GIs, a normal GI and a Chrono Legionnaire, and in the others I put in 2 Guardian GIs, a normal GI and a Siege Cadre.
Okay, sounds good.
So that we've got practically something against everything. Against armor,
Alright.
infantry, even buildings. So, I see that you also have a couple of Rocketeers stationed there, so...
Yeah, of course I'm just going to take the one on air.
Trample our enemies.
Bring it on.
It's not gonna be enough, my friends. I'm just gonna let them do what they want.
Another fun fact is that the battle fortress is also, of course, Omni Crush. He can crush different tanks. Not being shown here.
Because the Kappa tanks being hover tanks, you cannot Omni Crush them.
Of course,
So
cannot
if
be crushed.
If you were...
But of course, with normal tanks or normal... Every tank that is not Omni Crush immune will automatically be crushed by the battle fortress. So, it's pretty nasty to fight. Really save your ass. So in general, battle fortress, great assault unit. Definitely use them.
Absolutely. They are expensive and perhaps a little
Well,
annoying.
for their in general, they're not as expensive. They're on equal footing, I think, with the Charon tank from the Euro Alliance. But we'll get to that later in a different spotlight.
As I'm currently
what else do you have for us at the moment? I see you have a.
At the moment, if I may, I am showing the price. The Battle Fortress currently costs 1,750 credits.
Yeah.
I'm also going to go over the price of the other unique units. The Zephyr Artillery 1000. The Tsurugi has, I think that is 650.
Okay.
The Kappa Tank is 850 at the moment. The Blizzard is 1300. The Hailstorm is 1800. The Black Eagle 1400 at the moment. So I'm seeing a couple of...
Battle Fortress on the alert!
Of course, all these numbers are going to be subject to change. Yeah. So don't quote us on this yet.
Not yet.
So how about you show us off that cryo field of yours? Being one of the main Pacific Front support powers.
I'm going to be showcasing a combination.
A combination?
Of how it's supposed to be done.
Cannon grease and
okay, just how you're going to combine. Well, first, how about you explain which powers are you going to be combining first?
Well, the cryo field, as you just mentioned, but also the unique support power for the Pacific Front, namely the Zephyr Beacon.
Okay, so we've got two unique support powers that you're going to be using in tandem. Okay, so that's the... So this is the cryo field, which, as you can see, it nerfs our speed. And immediately after that, I see you're using here the Zephyr Beacon. The Zephyr Beacon is kind of a small... it's basically a cheat for the Zephyr, which spawns a beacon anywhere on the map where you could see it. And it allows Zephyrs, all the Zephyrs you control, you can use force fire on the beacon in order to fire upon that beacon, no matter what range it's at.
As you can see, my Zephyrs were all the way over here, while the normal range would be somewhere up to here. Well, actually, I was shooting over in this area. I also could have chosen to put them like
no armor
all the way in the back of my base, and they would still
be able to reach
the Zephyr Beacon.
Exactly. But of course, being as Zephyrs aren't really incredibly effective against buildings, you'll notice that this won't work as an easy MCV destroyer. Let's put it that way. So it's going to be balanced.
Absolutely not. Even if you build more than 30, more than 60, it's not going to be enough. Because the Zephyr Beacon is sustainable to damage of the Zephyrs themselves. So the more Zephyrs you're going to have, the more damage you'll...
the beacon is going to do. So that means that the more Zephyr artilleries you have, the faster the beacon will be destroyed.
Indeed.
To prevent abuse, of course.
Absolutely. So,
right, okay. So what else am I going to do? Is I'm going to be showcasing the final bit here, which you've seen here a couple times as well, is the Skyray cannon.
Yes.
Which is the Pacific Front's unique defense. Instant hit.
I don't think
that basically describes the Skyray cannon in one word: instant hit. It's basically, it has slightly weaker damage than the Patriot missile system, but it has, well, like you saw, instant hit. It doesn't have to wait for anything. It's probably the fastest anti-air defense that's out there at the moment.
At the moment, it is. If you would be so kind as to showcase another one during this, following the same route, because the landscape was obscuring. No. The landscape was obscuring the blast.
Oh, okay, sure.
And I think that the viewers do want to see that.
Oh, that's sure, no problem. Then I'll just build a couple more extra. Otherwise, I've got one extra here, otherwise you can send it over there. And otherwise, you can also demonstrate the Zephyr Beacon against buildings and show that it's the real effectiveness against it and how futile it is.
Okay,
you can check that out.
I am going to do that on your
telescopic sights.
There we go.
By the way, what do you need for the Zephyr Beacon? What do you need to build in order to get it? In order to unlock it?
That is going to be the Strategy Center.
Strategy Center. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it here. Yeah, not particularly effective.
No. And that is just about 8 Zephyrs doing some damage, but...
Okay.
It's not going to be enough. I think that even a player who knows what's going on is able to repair it faster than you can...
okay, I see.
Get it damaged. So, I've built a Skyray cannon over here, so you can send your Barracuda, hopefully.
Alright, then I'll head on over. That's pretty neat that we have for the strategy sense that they all have their own little flags. That's cute.
Yeah. The strategy center, by the way, that's this thing.
Okay.
One thing that I would like to notice about the strategy center is
that
it's basically the same as the super weapon. You can put a spy in it. There you go. Ow. You can Yeah, you can basically put a spy in a strategy center to reset all the timers of all the support powers.
Okay, so if you infiltrate it, you can reset the timer of all the support powers you have.
That would be, in this case, just the cryo field and the Zephyr beacon.
Okay. Well, still pretty potent.
Black Eagle reporting.
Okay, so I think that we've covered everything from the Pacific Front at the moment. That's unique to them at the moment.
Yeah, basically we have. Everything
Okay,
else,
excellent.
like the robot
no,
tanks,
I don't believe.
the
Sorry.
robot tanks are still the same.
Yeah,
Still
pretty much
over-
everything. Pretty much everything else for the rest is just all good. So it's all the same as the Unite. This is just a unique bit, of course.
Of course.
Well, okay, well done. Then I'm just gonna say this is good. Let's return. Then I'd say let's return to normal streaming business.